Hey everyone, Joshua Hanlon here in Minneapolis at the Brickmania GHQ, and I'm with Dan Siskind, and he's going to be taking us through the USS Makin Island. Now, some of you might have seen our video we did with Dan from Brick Fair, Virginia last year, but they've added so much more detail. There's so much more action happening up top here. So for anyone who didn't see that first video, why don't you start with a little bit of an overview, and then we'll dive into the details.
Okay, well, this of course is a Wasp-class amphibious assault ship, it's a ship designed to transport U.S. Marine Corps expeditionary group to whatever battlefield or whatever incident or whatever sort of emergency may arrive. These are Marines they get stationed all over the world. This ship happens to be docked in San Diego, California, and it's the purpose of the ship, of course, is just to bring the Marines around. It's like they call it a gator freighter. It literally holds Marines. So it has an air component, so it looks like an aircraft carrier, functions like an aircraft carrier. It's the same size as a World War II aircraft carrier, but it also has a well deck where they can have amphibious craft like hovercraft or landing craft could come right out of the back of the ship and bring the Marines to shore. So you have two ways that they can transport Marines, or get them to shore, either by air or by sea. And we're making it because it's a really cool ship. Also, it just gets to show off all of our models that we do. So everything that's on this ship is also something that Brickmania has sold or does currently sell. So
yeah, that's what I was going to mention. It's so cool because you've got all the stuff that you can see up top here that you sell, but also the models that go inside it, some of those ships and everything.
And it's a real. This has been like a real long work in progress. We're working on it for 2 years now. Not all at once because things kind of slowed down for a while during COVID. So this has been like 2.5 years in the making and still quite a bit to go. So people have seen it before. The differences are kind of immense, but because the ship is so big, it's hard to even pick out like what's different. So some of the details that are on it that are different. The bow is completely enclosed. Before there were big holes in the side. A lot of stuff that was structurally not complete inside has been completed, so it's a lot more durable. Started working on all the catwalks along the side, and there's so many of them, and like it's been kind of an immense project just getting all those going. So catwalks along the side, railings along the superstructure. Basically anywhere where you see studs on the side or on the deck, that's where we still have to put more stuff. So some more tiling has been done, but there's still a lot to go. So.
And when you're adding detailing like the catwalks all along there, do you add that in like section by section, or do you have the whole thing set up and just kind of add that all at once? How does that work?
Well, it's easier to break it up into sections. So the ship is built in 5 sections, and the bow section was actually tilted 90 degrees vertical for the last 3 or 4 months. So I've been working on it as I stand up and work on it. The rest of it's been on tables. So the bow section's been worked on separately. In fact, just a couple days ago, we assembled the whole ship for the first time in a long time since actually Brick, the tank farm last summer. So this is the first time it's all like actually connected with the decks all on it, and because we've been building it in pieces, and of course taking time out to build more aircraft. And so if you saw it at Brick Fair last year, it had half the number of aircraft on it that we have now. And even the aircraft that are on it all been updated. We just built a whole new deck crew. So those are new figures that we put together. We wanted to have them done in time for World War Brick. So adds so much. Of course, everybody who knows Lego knows that minifigs add so much more character to everything you do. So we wanted to make sure we had that, and we got all the minifigs staged, and had a bunch of volunteers come in and help. It's been a real fun experience getting this coming together. But I look at it and I just see, well, there's so much more to do, but
and yet it's already how many feet long and how many pieces?
I don't know how many pieces. It's the length of the ship is about 25 feet, which is in real life it's about 800. It's over 850 feet long. So translated into 1/35 scale, you can get an idea. It's 24 feet something, and I'm guessing the piece count will eventually reach 1 million when this is all said and done. So yeah, there's a lot to go. It's sort of like, where did all of our parts go? They're in the Makin Island.
This is truly a behemoth. You mentioned the minifigures there, so let's take a little bit of a closer look if we can. Maybe take us through some of what you have on display.
Okay, well, the colored minifigs, that's the deck crew. They're referred to as the Skittles. So the different colors mean they have different purposes on the deck. Like the yellow guys are sort of they're like the guys who like orchestrate the whole ballet that is moving the aircraft around, making sure everything's taxiing. And the red guys are the emergency crew. There's purple, brown, white are officers, blue. Everything has their own specialty. So we have all those. Those are all brand new. We've done some in the past, so this is actually has a mix of old and new figures for us. We just did an update. This right here, this little vehicle, this is an LAV 25. So it's a current Marine Corps. It's a reconnaissance vehicle, light armored vehicle, and this was actually made by Justin Hahn. So he updated. We had an older one. He completely redid this. This is his own creation. So he brought this here as his own mock for World War Brick. But it's typically you'd see these on these vehicles on the decks of the ships actually, because they would supplement the natural defenses the ship would have. So they'd be stored down in the hull for purposes on land, but they would actually bring them up. So this actually realistic that this vehicle will be chained to the deck like as it is. So the ship does have its own defenses, but the vehicle itself has its own targeting system independent of the ship. So for security purposes, they keep those there. The aircraft on here, this big line of aircraft, these are all V-22 Ospreys. So these are they take off and land like helicopters, and they can fly through the air like an airplane. So the efficiency of an airplane and the speed of an airplane, but the versatility of a helicopter. So we happen to have 11 of them on the Makin Island right now. Usually a full complement would be 12. Our 12th one is sitting over in the GHQ store. So the biggest helicopters are the CH-53s. They're not the current biggest aircraft that the Marine Corps flies, but they are very large Marine Corps utility helicopters. And of course, the smaller helicopters are the AH-1Z Viper, which is a Cobra helicopter derivative, and then the UH-1Y Venom is a modern version of the Huey utility helicopter. So let's walk around. We're in the process of adding all of the life preservers. So these little cylinders stuck on the side of the catwalk here, they're actually life rafts. And if the ship gets in trouble, they would eject off the side, and they would be unfolded and used for emergency flotation for all the crew members. We have like 220 of them to build. I think we built 30 of the 220 so far.
Hey, there's a lot of guys that need saving if something happens here.
Yeah, and they don't have lifeboats in the Navy. They have these little life rafts. So the green guys, these green and gray guys, those are actual. That's a Navy current Navy uniform. So that would be a utility uniform that would be used by the Navy. And then you also, for other crewmen, the guys with the camouflage helmets and stuff, those would actually be either aircraft pilots or aircraft crewmen. So we have a bunch of guest minifigs on the ship today. So you may notice some unusual crew. We had one guy, this guy, the Yellow Sailor, the classic Lego Yellow Sailor. He was placed there by an actual Navy intelligence officer, and he said, I'm going to put this figure here, and whenever I see the Makin Island, I want to make sure it stays there, because he actually is stationed on the ship. So he put himself on the ship. So we're going to be he's our only official yellow guy on the ship.
What else do we have in kind of the build-up section
So
here?
This is the superstructure. It's just this gigantic box. I don't think when we were at Brick Fair we actually had armaments on it. I don't think they were done. So, and I don't even think there were stacks on it, perfectly honest. So that's new since last time the public has seen it. So we're adding all the railings on it, adding the stacks. A lot of work needs to still be done on this. I was hoping to get it done before this week, but I ran out of time. Getting ready for World War Brick was more important. So it will be done. I'm hoping to have this section done within like the next month. And then now it's low at building level, it'll go a lot quicker. When this was sitting on a table, it was like I have to reach up over my head to work on the superstructure. So I'll get all the antennas, all the aerials, everything up here. When this is done, which hopefully will be soon, it'll be taller than us.
Wow.
So it'll be about 6 feet, a little over 6 feet tall.
What is this little certificate down here?
So when we built the Makin Island, we did what we knew that we were going to have to buy a lot of parts. So what we did is we sold plank ownership. So we put out a call and said, hey, if you want to buy a plank on the Makin Island that we're building, you give us some money. We will put a tile of your choosing on there on the Makin Island, which you can see around the water line, and then at different levels of sponsorship, you got a different size tile, and one of the rewards was actually that certificate. Like you are an official plank owner of the Makin Island, so you have some sort of proof that you are who you say you are. And that's where actually these crew members came from. So if you were at the top level, you got one of these printed crew members. We don't sell these figures at all. They're strictly for the people who helped build the ship. So everybody who contributed has their printed tile along the water line here, and it's on both sides of the ship. We may do a second round because this thing is a beast, and it's like as they say about boats and ships, it's a hole in the water you keep shoveling money into, and this is no exception.
There you go. I love that idea, though, for kind of the crowdfunding, getting people involved. It makes them feel like they're part of it then as it travels around to different events.
Right, and then if you come here and if you're one of the plank owners, you actually get a discount on purchases and stuff. So there are some benefits to being a plank owner, and we cut it off. So like there was like I think we sold 200 plank owner memberships, and then it was done.
Yes,
so
I love it. And if people do ever see this build, I should point out Beyond the Brick has a plank on here that we helped give money towards. So you can try and spot that when you see the ship.
We appreciate it.
Then going back up to some more of the aircraft, what do we have here?
So there's a couple more aircraft we didn't talk about. These dark gray aircraft, those are F-35C, or F-35B. I'm sorry. They're Lightnings, Lightning 2s. It's a vertical takeoff, our STOVL, short takeoff, vertical landing. So it needs a short runway to take off, and it'll land straight down onto the ship. So this is not like a traditional aircraft carrier at the angled deck. They can't do like the Top Gun type takeoffs and landings off the side of the ship. They have to land pretty much mark a spot in the deck. You get one chance, hit that spot. That's where you land. That's how you land. So straight down. But they'll take off rolling off the front of the deck. Next to it is a UH-60S Seahawk. So this is a Navy helicopter. Everything else on here is operated by the Marine Corps. The Navy has their own rescue helicopter. So that's what this is. So this is a Navy helicopter. If they're doing any sort of operations where they're taking off aircraft from the ship, these guys are always up in the air first, just in case of an emergency. If they need to do a water rescue or something, that these guys will do. They'll have a diver on board, all kinds of rescue equipment. So somebody goes in the ocean, they'll pluck them out as fast as they can. And of course, this is a Viper. It's a modern Cobra attack helicopter. The Marine Corps use them for top cover for security. And then the Venom is that UH-1Y. That's the Huey derivative. So that's the Marines' utility helicopter. So the Navy doesn't operate a whole lot of aircraft off their own ships, not in this class. So it's a Marine Corps operation. So this ship, during normal times, I believe would have about 800 Marines stationed on it, and then at peak times they could have up to 1,000 Marines on it. So if they're going to respond to an emergency somewhere, sometimes they'll actually load these things up heavier with as many people as they can. So this thing on the back, this baby coming out of it, this is called an LCAC. It's a landing craft air cushion, and in this case, a ship this size can hold 3 of these landing crafts. So there's a well deck, which I was talking about earlier. They can flood this deck so they can bring in water-based, like traditional landing craft that have to float. But in the case of the LCACs, they can actually just hop up onto the back onto the well deck. They don't have to ballast down the ship. It could just hop right up on top of it, slide in there, and they'll put 3 of them, one after another, and that they can lower the bow ramp and then lower the stern ramp and make it one big long, so they can drive vehicles from one through. So basically, load up all 3 vehicles at once. So in this case, we have them loaded with Humvees. We have 11 Humvees on this landing. And that's they could do that. They could actually fit more. I think up to 13 different Humvees. These Humvees happen to be a little bit bigger, so we're down to 11. Or like 2 Abrams tanks.
It's crazy how much the ship can hold, and then how much even the smaller boats and vessels can hold.
Yeah, it's a whole armada. And then this thing won't be alone in the ocean. This would be part of like a whole attack combat group. So we'd have smaller amphibious ships, like destroyer escorts to make sure that this is protected. Because these aren't exactly fast, speedy ships. It's not like it's not like a World War II landing craft, like a LST, which is extremely slow. These things are pretty fast, but they're not as fast as, like they say, the battle groups that are like an aircraft carrier kind of thing. So.
Gotcha. And then we have some more vessels on the other side.
Yeah, these are other landing craft. Well, landing craft and other things. So this is the LCU landing craft, LCU 1600 by George Hicks. So he built this on his own. I believe 2 of these can fit inside the Makin Island. There's an even bigger landing craft like this. It's a tank landing craft that the Navy has, but they can only fit 1 in. So, but this is a traditional waterborne hull, like a boat based landing craft. And this one's not mine, and all the stuff on it is all George's. I believe one of these might be a kit. So,
These tracked vehicles are really interesting on the back.
Yeah, I don't know anything about them. That's a George question. They must be some sort of remotely operated vehicles. The military is evolving faster than I can keep up with. So I know the Marine Corps is using some sort of mechanized vehicles and mechanical vehicles just to help move gear and equipment. And in front of it is a World War II vintage landing craft. So this would be a landing craft medium. I believe this might be a design based on what John Canepa did for a kit that we put out recently, but we didn't do it in these colors. We did British colors, and this is an American version. So it's a landing craft medium. That's a Sherman tank on it. The one in front of it is George Hicks was here. He's been here helping get World War Brick together, and while he was here, he built this it's a motor launch. We didn't know exactly what the motor launch was that they had on the ship, because the side of the Makin Island there's a davit with a boat hanging from it, and this is the closest thing that we found. It's a Navy patrol craft, like a harbor patrol kind of thing. So when this ship is in harbor, they have to have their own security. So that we built one of these. It actually has a bottom to the boat that's not on it right now. So this is a waterline version of the actual boat. And then this is a Navy SEAL attack boat. So I don't remember the actual name of it, but it's one that we sell. I think it's called the Rib, but it's designed to bring Navy SEALs, Special Forces, from ship to shore or up rivers, that kind of thing. That's an actual Brickmania kit. So.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to take in with the whole display here. So you've given a great overview of some of the details you've added, but talk about kind of what the future looks like for this, where it will be on display, and what you're hoping to add.
Sure. Well, my plan is, now that it's actually on the floor, to finish the whole superstructure, get all the radars, aerials, antennas. This thing is just covered. It has like warts all over it from where all the various antennas, and it's kind of it's like a porcupine of different antennas and aerials. So I'm going to work on that next. Get all the railings done. Get all the life the life rafts. That's the word I'm looking for. Get all those done. Get all the railings on it. Get it tiled. I don't want to do any tiling until I know exactly where everything's going to go. Once it's tiled, we'll get this thing. It'll be done, and then it's going to go on display. So the plan is to move this to our Miramar store in San Diego. Because the actual ship is based in San Diego. We're across the street from a Marine Air Base. These Ospreys fly. Our store is right in the landing pattern for where these Ospreys come in and land. So if you're ever in our store on a weekday, you'll get to experience an Osprey at very close range flying over your head. It makes the windows in our store rattle every time they go over. So it's a neat experience. So we'll put this in there, and it'll be on public display free 7 days a week.
Yeah, no, I love that. I know since we last did a video on this, you guys have opened those 2 new stores in California, so that's super exciting. And then having that personal, close local connection, like you were talking about.
Yeah. Well, it's a San Diego. The store is in San Diego. This is in San Diego. So it's the logical place to put this ship. And we have a local connection everywhere we go. Every one of our stores has a local connection. We try to maintain that. In fact, one of our employees is also an aircraft mechanic. So during the week he's over there keeping the F-18s flying over in the Marine Air Base, and then on the weekends he comes and works for us. Yep. So.
This is fantastic, Dan. Thank you so much for giving us an update of the whole model here. I love to see everything that's been added to it, and I'm excited to make it out to the stores in California at some point in the future and see it on display there.
We'd love to have you.